No matter how much you enjoy exercise, eventually you're going to ask yourself the question, does it ever become easier? The answers may surprise you. When it comes to getting fit, we always ask ourselves, does it ever get any easier month over month, year over year? And I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, it does not get any easier if you're doing everything relevant to incremental improvement. When we're looking at elevating your fitness, that fitness level could be better top-end speed. It could be enhancing your muscular endurance. It could be improving your lactate tolerance or your anaerobic threshold. It could be improving your functional range of motion. Does it ever get any easier? No, but there's a caveat. And what that caveat is, go back and do something that you did a year ago. And I don't want that to come across as disrespectful, but that's the only way you're going to be able to really change your perspective and understand that the body thrives on trying to adapt and overcome. That's the way we're designed. So if you look at muscles, muscles are very, very fascinating. When you first start doing something unique, you do a bicep curl is a bicep curl, but if maybe you changed up, you do 21s or 14s or super slows or something like that, it's still the range of motion, you're just changing the way you do it. In the world of looking at muscles, we have a couple stages I want you to contemplate. The very first stage is when you do something new or you do something different. Now, the reason why I say new or different, if you've never done a pull-up before, that's a new exercise. If you've done pull-ups with a weight belt on, that's just changing it up. I want to make sure it's different. This is where we get into sport specificity. I may be in shape to swim, bike, and run, but I may not be in shape to go play golf. I'm going to feel completely different after playing a game of golf, even though I'm quote-unquote in shape. So come back to the stages of muscle. Muscles go from confusion, that usually happens for about a week or two. Then they go into adaptation. They want to start to overcome. This is where we get into some deep physiology of neuromuscular communication with the power of the muscle actually stepping up and moving the load that you're requesting of it. So we have confusion, we have adaptation, and then in a very short period of time, you run into what we refer to as muscle staleness. It's the staleness that we've got to be careful of, because when you allow yourself to get to a point that you become the muscles themselves become stale, you become mentally bored. And what used to be a relatively easy exercise now starts to become difficult, ironically, not because of what the muscles are enduring, but because what your brain is dealing with. I've been here, I've done that, I've been doing the same exercise for X period of time. My suggestion to you would be try to change your weight workout up at least every 6 to 8 weeks. Change the order of your workouts. If you have followed me for any period of time or you've been a client of ours, you know that we do everything in cycles and we try to do everything in the realm of functional movement. So what that means is we don't use any equipment whatsoever when avoidable. We might use like a cable crossover machine or we might use a tricep push down for those types of, but that's about the extent of it. Everything else is done on a football with a set of dumbbells and or an endo board, an endo pillow, a folded towel. We're always trying to find ways to bring in proprioceptive balance while we do strength. That functional strength and balance is what makes you a better athlete, no matter what your sport of choice is. Now, when we come back to the whole idea here, does it ever get any easier? Well, that's where I need to make sure that you're fed, rested, and hydrated so you can mentally embrace the challenge of a new workout for 6 or 8 weeks. But if you wanted to make it easier on yourself, go back and do a workout that you did a year ago. Now, it isn't going to be easy for the reasons that you think. It actually is, let me rephrase that. When you go back and you do something that you've done a year ago, it's going to be perceived as easy, but it's not because the muscles are like, oh, I know how to lift that. It's because of the familiarity principle. When you do something for the first time, if you've never done a set of stars, you're going to feel kind of like a drunk giraffe, right? Just nothing feels right. The coordination is off. If you've never done a set of box hops, it's going to feel awkward until you start to know. This is where neuromuscular communication is so powerful with strength training. Because like when you go to jump up onto a 24-inch box, 18-inch box, even a 12-inch box, your brain has to send a message to the muscles. How much effort does it have to put out to get up on that box? Come down, how much is that what's that gonna feel like when you land off that box? I would encourage you to try these things. Do it in obviously a safe environment, but the idea here is if I transition from a 12-inch box hop, 18 to 24s, if I go back to 12, it's gonna feel easy. One, I'm familiar with it, and two, the overload principle at both a muscular strength and a neuromuscular communication level has started to, I have trained myself to go 24 inches, so 12 seems very easy. Another example would be if you go into the refrigerator and your brain anticipates that that gallon of milk is full. Well, a gallon weighs approximately 8 pounds. So if you open the refrigerator and you're distracted, your neuromuscular system is going to send enough load to lift 8. If it's half empty, you smash that up again. You smash the gallon of milk against the top of the refrigerator. Why? Because the neuromuscular message sent 8 pounds of lift and you only needed 3. See how this works? So when we look at the question, does it ever get any easier? Absolutely. Just go do something that you've done in the past. But if I can get you to always focus on being fed, rested, and hydrated, now you're going to be able to embrace the new challenge of a new weight workout. And that's where we get the adaptations that, in my opinion, you never stop improving unless you get sick or you get injured. That's why I always want you to err on the side of caution. You're not being a pansy. You're erring on the side of caution, because if you err on the side of caution, we know that we have the next workout, tomorrow, next week, next month, next training block. You get injured, we have to hit the pause button. Stop and think about that. A lot of us, particularly us men, we've got big peacock feathers. We want to just keep smashing and pushing and smashing and pushing, and then we get hurt and we go, gosh, wish I hadn't done that. If you err on the side of caution, you'll never have that parent-teacher conference with yourself. If you're new to the channel, I want to say thank you for watching today. Remember to to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. I want you to turn on the notifications because we put a new video out every day, and we're here answering your questions. So should you have a question, please send it to contact@coachrob.com. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.